James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, radio host and author of an amazing book that you got to read if you haven't, Rush on the Radio. It's a fantastic book. And I wanted to read this tweet that he had yesterday before we start off, because I saw this like right before I heard what she said. And he said, quote, "Whatever you do, please do not let this corrupt Biden administration, corrupt DOJ, corrupt FBI trigger anyone into a response that can be used to push their liberal narratives. They're intentionally trying to provoke American patriots." My friend, Bo Snerdley, James Golden, so good to see you. That was such an astute observation. Welcome to the program. It's so good to have you, and thanks for joining us.
Be with you, and congratulations. You're just kicking butt. So.
You are the ultimate judge of this. I mean, you were part of the most successful radio show in American history, and you really you helped invent this whole genre for everybody to feed their families. So we're grateful to you. So that means a lot. This was such a great insight that you had, because it seemed weird. It seemed so theatrical for purpose, didn't it? What did you first think when the news broke and you got these, you see the weird grainy images of Mar-a-Lago across the water, and they're saying the FBI's there, they've raided it, they busted into a safe. That seemed really over the top for what this is.
All of this seems over the top. Even Meghan McCain has been critical of this FBI raid. And you have Democrats, some of them, who are not afraid to be questioning, what is this about? They better tell us pretty soon. And of course, you now have an almost united Republican Party, except for the two that you mentioned on The View, as you say in air quotes, Republicans. But so this does not make sense on a few levels. We have known about the so-called classified information that President Trump supposedly had at Mar-a-Lago for months now. Why now? So why would they do this now? Secondly, is it necessary to do this kind of raid? Why couldn't they just contact lawyers, arrange for a time to be there, and be there? This is just so extraordinary what they've done, and it's, of course, unprecedented. And yes, I think we ought to not be provoked by these people. Already, there was a spontaneous gathering outside Mar-a-Lago. Can you just imagine what will happen if there are some infiltrators who begin to start a riot scene? And where's the narrative going to go with this?
Yeah.
These people are devious. They will do anything. And obviously, we know what the end game here. The end game is to try to find some justifiable reason to prevent Donald Trump from running in 2024.
Yeah.
They're trying to stack up some charges on him, gratuitous, phony or not. There's no question that this FBI is corrupt. There's no question in anyone that looks at the behavior of the DOJ and the FBI over the Obama administration into the Trump administration, and then now. There should be no question that we're dealing with corrupt actors in the FBI and DOJ. Christopher Wray, to me, is useless. He never answers questions directly about why they have failed to hold Democrats accountable, and the questions that he should be answering, why FBI agents who tried to participate in the Russian hoax have not been totally cleansed from the FBI's operation. In fact, Andrew McCabe was rewarded, pretty much.
Yeah, so, it's been wrist slaps for everybody all around. We're talking with our good friend James Golden, also known as Bo Snerdley. This the story of the classified information. We were talking to Andy McCarthy a little earlier, and he made the point that we're assuming too that it's all classified. I mean, who knows what they use when they fill out their warrant application? That hasn't even been made public yet, and I think obviously that'll put a lot of insight in this. But he has the ability to declassify things during his term as president. We don't know if it was just declassified or classified material. Some people were giving and I'm sure you saw this, they were giving the example of, Sandy Berger also had classified material and he was arrested. Sandy Berger walked into the National Archives. You remember the story? I remember y'all talking about it. He shoved this stuff down his pants.
Right. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Sandy Burglar is what we used to call him.
Yes. I remember
yeah.
that. Oh my gosh. The reaction, he shoved it in his socks and down his pants and then kind of shuffled out of the archives, thinking nobody's going to know what happened. They don't have cameras in there. I mean, it's just the National Archives.
But what do these people really want? Besides that, they would love to see the American right fall into the narrative that they've been talking, all these bunch of radical extremists who are violent, when in fact, the most violent faction in American politics is the left, with Antifa and the rest of their left-wing loonies that they never hold. I mean, Dana, these are people who burn cities, who torch cities for months at a time, and are never held accountable for it. And yet we get this narrative that it's the right wing somehow that are going to explode in fury and try to take over the capital of the United States and try to an insurrection, which is anybody that saw this live, by the way, on January 6th, should have a lot of questions that have not been resolved with this phony commission.
Yeah.
Like, why were the doors open for these people?
Why was it breached before Trump was even done? I mean, there were people who got in before how could he? It just doesn't make sense. You're right.
Yeah. And so you have this faction. They would love to, once again, before the midterm elections, have a narrative that Republicans are trying to, as they continue to say, destroy our democracy. Well, we're a republic, number one, but try to destroy our democracy, which is not happening. So I would urge Republicans, if you decide to be on the streets, you better be very careful. These people are going to try to do everything they can to disparage you, to make sure that you get caught up into something that you can't get out of. And look at the way they've treated these January 6 people, locked in solitary confinement, in poor conditions in prison, and held longer than the average murderer is held in New York.
Yeah.
So be careful out there.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, the stuff that they've had, that they've endured, and how long they've been incarcerated, and then the penalties that they get. I saw somebody got like 5 years for unlawful parading, which I didn't even know was actually a thing. That's very stunning. We're talking with our friend James Golden. You know him also as Bo Snerdley, author of Rush on the Radio, and a part of one of the most historical, groundbreaking radio shows that invented a whole genre for over 30 years. This is how they get more Trump. This is the gamble that I don't understand. Because obviously Merrick Garland knew about this and signed that weasel. That man is a weasel. He signed off on this. He knew all this was coming. I love it how they got Ray, who leaves town, goes on vacation. Biden goes to Kentucky, and then he's heading to South Carolina for 2 weeks, coughing on everybody on vacation. So they get out of Dodge. All this goes down. If they didn't want more Trump, doing something like this, getting this far over their skis and gambling like this is how they get more Trump, right?
They have united factions of the Republican Party that I never thought could be united at this point. There are never Trumpers. There are people who are openly never Trumpers who are saying this is wrong. How dare you do this? I mean, again, Meghan McCain.
Andrew Cuomo.
As Andrew Cuomo, critical of this. This is so unexpected. And if you think Donald Trump is not going to understand how to exploit what has happened here politically, he has already released an advertisement basically decrying the decline of America into this third world nation. And these are you hear this phrase over and over again between last night and today, that America's turning into a banana republic, a third world banana republic, that this is the kind of thing you would expect. I was talking with a doctor this morning who said this is sort of like what it was when we used to look at the Soviet Union and what we thought of the Soviet Union. That's what's happening inside the United States today. And for many people, it's unbelievable. So I think that the Democrats usually do something that is politically untenable. They overextend their hand. They overextend their mandate. And they have this, I'm hoping that they have stepped in the biggest pile of it in political history.
Man, I hope so too. Last question for you, my friend, talking with James Golden, or also known as Bo Snerdley. I got to say both. I mean, I call you James. That's how I would refer to you. JamesGolden.com. He's got his own talk radio show as well. And he's got his newsletter. He's got his book. He's Bo Snerdley on Twitter. This made me think when I saw this story, the very uncomfortable timeline right after Democrats passed this tax bill where they got 87,000 IRS agents, and then they're going to raid this dude over a former president of the United States over just something. It seems like they could have at least maybe subpoenaed him first. They did with Hillary Clinton. They never raided her. For all the times Trump said lock her up, he never raided her. How does that make you feel, knowing if they can do something like this to the president of the United States, now they're going to have 87,000 IRS agents and a whole other kind of little army going out there. I just feel a little weird about this. James, what about you?
You opened your segment here by saying there's a two-tier justice system. I think right now they've proven it beyond belief to many American people. And this is a very dangerous moment for them because even people on the left, some of them respect the rule of law, and they may have crossed a bridge too far here. They have put this country in danger by doing this. They have destroyed the fabric of America, and it's up to us to build it back, because apparently these people have no respect for the law, no respect for equal justice under the law, and it's up to us to put back and return this country to what it should be.
There you go, right there, jamesgolden.com, and you can find him at Bo Snerdley on Twitter, author of Rush on the Radio. My friend, that was so insightful, and I think a lot of people saw that. You inspired a lot of people to kind of just take it down a notch, be calm and cool, calm people, figure their way out of any situation. I always appreciate your insight and everything that you've done for just free speech. God bless you, my friend.
Dana, you're carrying the torch, and I love you.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. We'll talk again soon.